This episode is brought to you by tccarepackage.com. Wear your care. tccarepackage.com. Now let's start the episode. I actually want to thank you publicly. I don't know if we've ever really talked about this, but if it wasn't for you, I'd say over 5 years ago, calling me to be your transaction coordinator, I don't think I would be sitting in this position right now.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, I was working at an office, and I know this is not about me. This is going to be all about my guest, Sergio Giannoni, in a moment. But I definitely just wanted to take the time to open this up and publicly thank you
Wow.
for calling me. Whether, it panned out or not, that one call gave me the confidence to know that I could do this on my own, not just, as an entrepreneur, but just to have more self-confidence in myself when I was at a point in my time where my confidence was pretty much on E and I was
Mm.
lost in working at an office. So it just takes that one person or that one opportunity for many of us to get going. And for me, it was that call, that one random day. I wish I remembered the date, but so I just wanted to start off by publicly thanking you for that because that changed the whole trajectory of my life.
Yeah, you got your license now, and so it's just I'm probably not your biggest client anymore.
But you're still there.
I
So I
still got
think
the play. I still got the player price.
he
So
does. The only one, and we won't say that online.
we don't say that online.
But I'm very grateful for that. So I just wanted to open up with that and just publicly thank you. It made a huge difference in terms of my
Wow.
career and even today starting this podcast. So it was important for me to have you as the first realtor on here to discuss your journey and real estate and business and everything else you have going on to this day. Transaction Care, the podcast. Welcome home to the number one real estate show on the market. I am your host and resident care coordinator, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lilly. My goal with each episode of Transaction Care is to demystify the business of real estate from my point of view and interviews from other voices within the real estate industry around the world. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Without further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to introduce my guest. He's from Oakland, California, Bay Area resident as well. And so since 2002, you've been involved in several aspects of real estate from property management, mortgage finance, real estate sales, tenants, short sales, interior design, marketing, just to name a few. All of his information will be in the description below. And in 2013, you were accepted into the Top Agent Network, which is a
Mm.
prestigious online network of brokers and agents whose membership is reserved only for the top 10% of realtors in the region. So I'm not just talking to any old realtor. He's a big
I
deal.
know. Oh, I know. Big deal.
He's a
Big
big
deal.
deal out here. And you're an investor. So we'll get into all
Mm-hmm.
of that in this conversation. So if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't already figured out who I'm talking to, everyone welcome Sergio Giannoni, realtor, investor, amazing person, friend. Thank you
Wow.
so much for joining me today. I appreciate having you here as a guest. Let's get started.
Let's do it. I'm stoked.
All right. So before we get started, you could follow Sergio on Instagram at the Realtorist, and
There you
all,
go.
all of that information will be in the description below. The beginning of your real estate journey, let's talk about how you got your start in real estate. 2002 was a long time ago for many of us. I was
Okay.
we're pretty close in age, so I remember what I was doing around that time. Was real estate like a childhood dream of yours, or was it just a career path that aligned at the right time? And if you don't mind just breaking down that journey and what just attracted you to real estate in general.
It was more so my parents' dream. My parents aren't in real estate, but they owned real estate. And so in 2002, they had encouraged me to go buy a house out in the city of Merced in the middle of nowhere. And I thought they were joking, but they weren't. And actually, they got me start. They helped that because they said they would help with the down payment to purchase this house out in Merced. and I didn't know what I was doing. I was pretty much just thrown in the fire on renting property and doing my own rental, and that's how it started. I pretty much just I still have that house. It's a rental, and so my parents forced me to do it. I went through a lot of failures my first 3 years just getting that house because I didn't know I didn't know what to do, how to fix the house, how to rent it out, how to market it, how to paint. So it was kind of pretty much throw you in the fire and you sink or swim. And luckily, I swam out of it. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And I spent a lot of money too.
Oh, I can imagine because at that point you're what, like kind of fresh out of high school, new to college, right?
Yeah, I think I'm like 21, 22, and just I mean, yeah, like right, like people were partying and going out. They're not out
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere trying to buy a house and trying to fix it.
Yeah, I was definitely on the party side of things. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish I spent more of my money on investing. But speaking of that, those early days, so looking back at that point in your time in your life, when did you catch your stride with real estate? Like, did you think, okay, this is going to be my career now? I should get licensed? Or at what point did you just feel more comfortable with, even though you're still figuring it out as you're going, but
Right,
at
right,
what point did you feel like, all right, it's time to elevate, it's time to expand or grow or venture into
right.
this for real?
Well, the first 2 or 3 years, I mean, it was very demoralizing because all the tenants that I had rented that house out to uh, didn't pay or stopped paying. So I
Oh
had to go
no.
through evictions, right? And I just was thinking like, okay, well, can I do this? Should I
Right.
just get out? Should I not? And that was pretty much the only real estate that I was doing besides, just taking care of the properties that my parents had. But this one was my own, so it was different. And then I would say my fourth tenant in 3 years in this house, finally I was able to secure them, get them to start paying their rent, and
Nice.
it became like a seamless transition finally. And so then I started thinking, oh, okay, well, I mean, I'm getting the hang of this. Where could I go and learn more about this real estate process? Because there's a lot to it, right? There's investing, there's
Yeah.
lending, there's sales, and then I started I got into the finance world of real estate, working for a mortgage broker. Back then, you didn't need a license. I didn't have my license to practice real estate, but you didn't need a license to do loans. You need a license for sales, but you didn't need a license to do loans. Now you do.
Right.
And so that's when I started. I started doing loans for about a year and a half, 2 years. I would say probably in '05, and then the uh, lending was cool. It's not, you're more in an office. You're not face to face. You're not actually looking at houses,
Right.
and that's what I wanted to do more so. But I still wanted to learn about the lending side just to get a grasp on how it works. And so I did the lending side. I thought it was a bit boring, and so I started taking my real estate classes and took my exam in '07, and that's when I passed and got my realtor's license.
Amazing. Amazing. Did you have a mentor back then at any point or
Ooh, 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 ooh. I had a mentor in life, which really helped me get out from where I was before,
right?
just kind of with all the wrong people. But I never really had a mentor in real estate getting into it. I did not. That's a good question. And then when I think about it, I met a lot of people through the lending side, through the property management side, but never somebody that kind of took me under their wing to just show me the ropes. I had to pretty much learn it myself.
Right, right. I'm kind of going off script right now, but would you say for someone starting in real estate, I know for me working in an office was beneficial and learning the ropes, but would you say starting in lending or mortgage is more beneficial than working within, say, a residential, real estate office per se? Because lending is a big part of this whole process. It's all about the money. And you started in lending and mortgage, well, after you bought your first home, but do you think that really set the tone for what was to come next? Had you not known that information?
Totally. Actually, that's a great insight. I would say because okay, so the lending part is very important, right? Because if you don't understand the numbers and what people can and can't afford, and if you don't know how to calculate a mortgage, principal interest, without looking lost, you're not going to be able to confidently speak about real estate as much as the person who has actually gone through the process of lending. Not only that, it's not just about principal and interest payments and calculating that, but
Right.
it's also looking at like different investments, right? Let's say you have a client that wants to buy a duplex or a fourplex, right? So now you're doing math on the rate of return, right? The cap rate, the GRM, and so the more that you're exposed to this lending financial side, the better, right? Because
Right.
you're gonna approach it. You're gonna meet some heavy clients that are gonna say, hey, how can I do this? What should I expect to pay? Not only that, you want to be able to bring a building to your one of these commercial buildings to your client and say, hey, you could afford this. It's only X amount per month and the rents are X amount. Here you go, right? You only have to put down 10, 20%, 30%, and we're in the positive cash flow. So definitely, like if you're able to pull that off and do a lending side, sometimes it's comical because I run into agents who say they hate math. I'm like, well, I mean, come on. This our business is math. I mean,
Right.
you can't run
Everything
away
is
from it.
associated with math. Like even if you just wanted to be a painter, you would have to know, well,
Yeah,
you even have to calculate the amount of paint you'd have to buy or that your
yeah,
budget. So everything is related to math. But I really do think that having that additional knowledge, and for anyone listening out there that is new to real estate or even considering real estate, or just considering pivoting their career within real estate, it's important to diversify your knowledge as well and expose yourself to each world, not just to see where you fit in, but just to have that fundamental knowledge of the industry so you can have those conversations, like you said, approaching higher profile clients and being able to sell commercial real estate versus just kind of sticking to one area that is residential. You having that extra knowledge or at least that curiosity enables you and opens up other pathways and doors for you to explore to not only get paid more, but to just expand your network. And I think that's a key element to, because real estate, as a realtor, you are your own boss in a sense, even though you are backed by a brokerage, if that's your choice, the route you want to go. So in the beginning or in general, when choosing an office, how do you go about doing that? Like, let's pretend I don't know how
mm,
to do that, but how did you go about picking an office or even today, picking, where you're at today? What is your
right,
thought process and what do you think is required?
right, right. That's a great question because being in the game now for so many years, I always get these emails about where these brokerage firms only charge you $100 per transaction. You keep the rest of your money, but you don't get an office, right? You work from home.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with our industry, right? Is that our industry is very hands-on, people on, right? Like you got to be comfortable talking to people.
Yes.
How do you learn about the industry? Is that you come to the office and you hear, right? You hear people talking about the market, like, oh, did you see this? Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh well, did you hear they got 10 offers? Oh wow, I can't believe they got 10 offers. Well, you can't do that if you don't have an office, or you don't have colleagues that go to the office that are there. So when you're picking an office, first of all, you need stability, right? You need an office that has been there and that has had the history, that has gone through multiple down and up cycles
Yes.
of real estate, because you know that if shit hits the fan, they're still going to be there and they're still going to support you, right? And that's the other thing. If an office has been there or a brokerage firm has been there in the location for many, many, many years, then you know that they're going to support you in good and in bad times. And so when looking for an office, you want to make sure that they just have a presence there, right? You can't. One
Right.
thing I learned about real estate, and you can't half-ass real estate. Like
No, not at
can't
all.
do real estate
There
part time.
really are no shortcuts at all. You will
No,
always
you
find
can't.
yourself in a ditch.
You can't do it. Like you can't part time it. I part timed it when I first started because I had no choice. But ultimately, if you want to take it serious, you have to just go in and do it full time. And that's what these brokerages do. They do it full time, right? And you have to. It's something you take seriously. I mean, at first, it's hard for a lot of people. Yes, I get it. It's hard for me too. But ultimately, you have to make that transition of hey, am I ready to do this full time? And if I am ready to, I need to make sure that my office is there, has presence, is
Right.
willing to spend on marketing, and offers those particular types of classes and support. If they've been there a long time, then that means they're doing something right, and more likely that'll be an office for me. And also recommended an office for a new person.
Yeah, you made a great point about an office being or sticking around during the ups and downs of the market and how they've survived that, because you're right. It gives them not bragging rights, but it just gives them that credibility. That's the
Yeah.
word. It gives them that credibility that, okay, this is what we did to get through this. This is what we recommend you do, or what we suggest you can do in these situations. And, oh, we're back here again. This is how we did it, but this is now how we're going to make it stronger.
I got an example.
Yeah, go for it.
I got a super example. So when I started in 07, shit hit the fan in 08, and it was just really tough for a lot of brokerage firms. And what I saw, two companies, Keller Williams, Angle, and Volkers. And not to call them out, but we're independent contractors. I'm going to say it as how I see it. Both of those two companies, when shit hit the fan, they left San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And they got rid of their office in San Francisco, no presence in San Francisco. And it sucks because as an agent, right? Like, well, what do you mean you're closing the office? Where am I going to go?
Right.
Right. And so now you're an agent left on the street at the worst time possible, looking for another firm, looking for another office, and it's just really stressful. And now, granted, those two companies are pretty big, but during that time, when the market was good, they probably only had one, maybe two offices, each of those in the city. I think Keller Williams only had one. Once shit hit the fan, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I wasn't ever a part of that, but I saw it. And so, now 15 years later, they're back in the city. Both of those are back in the city. But as an agent, I'm saying, like, what makes me think that you won't leave again if shit hits the fan? And so because of that, I wouldn't go to companies like that.
That's an excellent point. And right, not to call anyone out directly, but unfortunately, that was the circumstance at that time. And you recognize that as, you value longevity, you value support. And the first sign of like, peace out, I'm not going to trust you anymore on a personal level, on a business level, on a friendship level. Like, when things go hard, you definitely want to have people that are going to go to battle with you, to go to war with you, and like get through the mud with you. And fortunately, at that point in time, you had that. And so, for anyone out there, keep those things in mind when searching for an office, and do your research, do your due diligence, and ask questions. Don't be afraid to be in an interview and say, hey, when stuff hits the fan, are you going to be there for me? So do you remember your first deal as an agent, as a realtor?
Oh yeah, for sure.
We'll move on from like the first couple years of your career, but I'm just curious because you've had quite the journey. We would be here for 8 hours or more if we covered all 20 plus years of your career. But yeah, let's talk about your first deal, if you don't mind.
Oh my goodness. So like
that it wasn't you. It wasn't your deal. Like you represent someone else.
Right.
You're on that main stage platform.
Right. So as I said, I started in 07 and shit hit the fan in 08. And so you again thrown in the fire again because nobody was buying. You couldn't get a loan, all cash deals. and
Short
just
sales, REOs,
you're
off the chain.
oh yeah, I mean nobody has confidence, right? Like if there's no confidence in the market, why is anybody going to buy?
Right.
Um, but one thing I learned is that, which helped me out today, and one of the a top agent told me this when I was working at Prudential. I don't remember who told me, dude, but basically said in every market, whether it's a down or an up market, there's always a buyer and a seller. And I took that to heart, and I just started seeing like, oh shit, like people are actually buying in this down economy when it's like it's shit. Nobody has confidence in anything, and people were just buying. And I was like, wow, I got to meet somebody who's buying. And in retrospect, the people who bought then got sweet deals. But my first deal, it took me about, I think, 7 months to get my first deal. Like I was so broke. I remember my first deal was an REO, real estate owned by bank, in the city of Hayward. And this was the time when there was no open houses for REOs. You had to go there and hope that the
Yeah.
key was in the lockbox.
I remember those days. Yeah.
There was so many REOs and all these keys just got lost. And so this was the case where there was no key in the lockbox. And I was like, shit, like my client came all the way out here. By the way, I met this client through Craigslist. Crazy.
Oh, wow.
I put an
Do
ad out
people
on
still use
Craigslist.
Craigslist?
You know what? They still do.
Wow.
They still do. I still get calls on it. I put an ad out, just said, hey, I mean, just guerrilla marketing. Put an
Absolutely.
ad on Craigslist and just say, hey, REOs, short sales, hit me up, right? Like I'll show them to you. This Asian lady, Julia Thant, first client, ended up buying four houses.
Wow.
First one was in Hayward. It was like 187K, I think, or 190K. Hayward, a house. No keys in the lockbox, but I wanted to impress Julia because, I mean, I was hungry. I needed a deal. I wanted a
Right.
deal. I broke into the house. Uh,
I think we're
went
past the statute of limitations.
went into, I
We
mean,
won't say the address.
went through the back, went through the back of the house, picked the
Yes.
lock, kind of just a hammer and a screwdriver, and got her in. And it was crazy. I was like, fuck, what the hell did I just do? But I mean, okay, so to protect myself, it was the REO. The agent didn't care about the listing.
Right.
I wasn't gonna get in. Nobody was gonna get in there. So we got in.
Different time in
He,
real estate. There was no Instagram, there was no social media, barely,
no,
and
nothing,
everything was still
no,
done by hand, written paper. It
no,
was
everything. Yeah,
it was the Stone Age. It was
it was exactly. I mean, me breaking into a house, nobody would have put me on social media for that. So we got in. She liked it. Wrote the all cash offer, and got it accepted. And that was actually my first, not only my first client, but my first investor client. So it was actually very helpful for me too, because she was looking at it from a rental perspective.
Mhm.
And although I had a rental property, I hadn't seen it the way she had seen it through her eyes, because she had some experience.
Shout out to Julia.
Shout out to
Off,
Julia.
kicked
If
off.
she's out there listening,
There you
look
go.
what you started.
Look what you started. And that's, going back to what I said in the beginning. It just takes that one person. And sometimes, desperate measures call for desperate or desperate times call for desperate measures. And thankfully it all worked out in your favor. And that's a good segue, because I do want to talk about your journey with investing. As you mentioned, you started at a very young age, but I imagine from 21 to now, that's 2 decades worth of experience. And
Oh yeah.
one, how did you get into it? Well, we kind of touched the surface on that, but for you personally, when I say investing, I mean like you purchase homes that are in distress, correct? And
Yeah.
flip them essentially. And that's kind of a hot topic in real estate. A lot of people think it's this quick fix or this quick buck, like, oh, just, go get an FHA loan, put a few, thousand down, and then, take some of that money and flip it, and then you're good. But as someone that works in real estate, I haven't flipped a home or anything like that, but I do know it's never that easy. So let's
Mm.
let's get into that aspect of real estate because I want to clear up some things for people that are out there wondering not just how to get into it, but how to actually succeed at it. You know,
Oh,
is it a slow burn? Is it a, you know, you get lucky and you could, you know, over be an overnight success? Or let's get into how you have experienced real estate and investing.
it's something that I'm still learning today, right? All these years
Ongoing, yeah.
doing it, it's an ongoing process. One thing that I would just recommend a future investor doing is starting small, right? Like if your first investment deal is going to be $1 million, I mean, if you can pull it off, that's great, but you're getting yourself into a lot of debt really quick.
Right.
And if you fuck up, you're you're going to lose at least 10 years of your life because you won't be able to buy again for another 7.
Oof.
So my recommendation would be to buy something small. I think when I bought that house in the Central Valley, I mean, it was small debt, right? It was low debt. I could manage it. When I
Mhm.
had vacancies, it's manageable debt that you could pull off, right? If you have $1 million
Right.
loan, you have a what, a $5,000-6,000 payment, uh, even though you have no money coming in.
Right.
So I would recommend.
Not including repairs or maintenance
Right, not including repairs, not including any kind of legal
if they
fees,
skip
and
out on
so
rent or
keep that
anything
on
like that.
rent.
Yeah.
I would say the first thing is start off small, but also you got to start, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of these future investors, they're trying to look for the right deal, the best deal. Well, how do you know what is the best deal if you've never even been through it? If you
Mm,
don't have any
good
any
point.
experience, are you going to rely on somebody to say that, oh, it's the best deal? Well, who are they, right? And so you got to get started, right? Like you got to just dive in and get started, because you're going to learn so much about investing and dealing with investors, dealing with tenants, dealing with banks, lenders, contractors, right? The biggest headache, dealing with
Mm,
contractors
yeah.
the very first 2 or 3 years, and you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fall on your ass. You're gonna be actually you're gonna be at home at dinner time thinking where you went wrong, but you gotta pick yourself up. Okay, what did I learn from it? How did this contractor take me to school and charge me double than what it cost? Okay, I learned, and then you keep on moving on, right? You learn, pick yourself back up. But that's the thing, right? It's a process, and
Yes.
you can't go through this process unless you start. And if people just kind of wait, like, okay, I'm gonna do it this year, I'm gonna do it next year, I'm gonna do it this year. Well, okay, fine, but you just lost what, 2 3 years where you could have just bought something, buy something small, anything. Don't
Right.
buy a mobile home. That's not a good
Oh,
investment.
pro
Um,
tip.
don't buy a mobile. But you buy a little house like somewhere out in Central Valley that's it's very affordable out there, and you just start doing it, right? You start doing it, you start learning.
Mm,
Tenants are all alike. Tenants are all alike, and then you get that experience. And then once you get it flowing, you get a tenant there. It's like, okay, wow, okay, I got the hang of this. Looks like it's working. I can manage the repairs. I got a little bit of savings now just in
mhm.
case the repairs come up. Then you can start tackling different other kind of investments, right? Like get another property or go for a duplex, right? And
Right.
so it's just you got to start somewhere, and you have to start now, right? It's always, don't think of it as like, oh wow, like nobody's buying, it's not a good, not again a good time to buy right now. Like,
Right.
no, actually, some of the wealthiest folks I know bought in markets like we have now,
Hmm.
right? So that's my recommendation, is that you got to get started. I mean, there's not a class or a book out there that will teach you everything about what will go wrong. You have to go through this process yourself. You got to fail. You will fail.
Will film.
Everybody
Right.
fails, and you got to learn from it, and you got to pick yourself back up and do it right. And if you do it right, I mean, you'll learn quick, and you'll continue to do it.
I agree 100%. And that's with any, choice you make in life and business and in your career. It's like there really isn't ever a good time. And if you are ready, then that's the right time, in my opinion. When you are
Right.
financially ready, mentally ready, spiritually aligned, all whatever it takes for you to feel confident. And it doesn't even have to be 100% confidence. It's just like you have that
Right.
1% of
Right.
like, I could do this. Let me just
Right.
go for it.
I will say something too, like what I've been seeing lately, and just kind of it just because I saw this back in 07, 08, right, where a lot of these guys were over leveraging themselves, right? Like, okay, you buy one house, and in 6 months you buy another one, and in 6 months you pull money out of your current house, and then you buy another one.
Right.
But what I saw was that when the bank failed, they started calling back some of these loans that they
Oh,
gave out, meaning like, hey, like here's clause 156A B. We're gonna call the loan out, right? And so you got to pay the money that I gave you to buy that other house. You got to pay me back. And so if you're an investor in the down economy and you're now over leveraged in debt, where are you going to get this money from? You can't, especially if nobody's going to give you a loan. And so a lot of these guys ended up losing a lot of these houses because they couldn't pay off they couldn't pay off the loan, and or the economy sucked, but they were so over leveraged that they're one roof repair away from losing everything. And so that's another thing too, is that I started seeing that again the last 3 years. It's called the BRRR technique. People call it Burr.
yeah, the
Um,
Burr movement. That's
the
pretty
Burr movement,
trendy right now.
and
Very
that's
trendy.
just it's trendy and it works when you have appreciation. But
Yes.
when you don't have appreciation, like right now, where it just stops,
Hmm.
you can get into a lot of trouble because you are over leveraged to the max, and like just like I said, you are one roof repair
Oof.
away from losing a lot because all these BRR guys, if one person doesn't pay your tenant, if it doesn't pay your rent, one tenant doesn't pay your rent, and then the other house that you have under BRR, the roof collapses, and you got to replace the roof right away because that tenant's paying. I mean, it's dangerous. Like I see a lot of people on TikTok and on Instagram doing that technique, and I mean, granted it may work for some, but I just can't see it. It's hard. I mean, you go to sleep every night over leverage, right? What if there's an earthquake
If you can
and
sleep.
if you can't sleep? I mean, you're over leveraged and you're banking on equity to get you out of this situation, and that's one thing you
Mhm.
can't bank on. You cannot bank on equity because equity, as quick as it rises, it will tank even faster.
Yeah. Take a pause for to process all of that.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
no,
real.
just like
And it's honest. And I
uh,
think that's why I want to have these conversations is because there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of gatekeeping as well online and on social media. And, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get all the answers when you find someone that's trustworthy or reliable, but it's important to not just seek out the knowledge or do what's trendy, but to be honest with yourself. How are your money habits? Do you have reserves? Like, go into it with the
right.
mindset, go into it almost not, everyone's like, you got to be positive and, believe it's going to work out. It's like, I do believe it's going to work out, but you also have to be realistic with like, well, if it does not, this is how I'm preparing for it now or how I've already prepared for that. Yeah, I know
Oh,
California and the Bay Area is kind of an exception to that rule because the market, at least in the major cities, there aren't a lot of people really investing per se here in the Bay Area unless they're doing it long term. What you're saying, I definitely can see it applying to someone doing it, trying to get in, and make a quick buck on the short term and investing out of state. You do that as well, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah. Actually, that was so seeing a lot of folks lose a lot. It kind of made me more risk averse, right? In terms of
Hmm.
just, hey, um, I'm not ready to get into a lot of debt yet. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Like now, uh, I could get into more debt. But however, I have investments that give cash flow now, right?
Mhm.
I'm not always in trouble in
Yes.
terms of making sure that this rent comes in. Like now I have rent coming in. If I need to replace a roof, that's fine. I got the money to replace it.
All
But
right.
also next month, I make it right back, right?
Exactly.
I started seeing, okay, well, buying high price property in California and buying multiple properties like this, where I'm pretty much just paying because there's a shortage of houses.
Hmm.
Why don't I go out somewhere where it's much cheaper? Rents are still somewhat, I mean, not super high, but they're lower. They're able to justify the investment, and let's see what else is out there. And I started to go on Zillow and just look at low price properties, different neighborhoods, and I started getting into
I
that. I
love it.
don't know if you want me to go into that.
Yeah, just real quick, do you collaborate with people? Like, how did you build a network outside of the state? Like, was it a person that was like, "Hey, go call this person," or you just created a community on your own?
I you visit it, right? When you go out there and you visit these different states, uh, you look at the ads, Craigslist ads, and here's the thing: I felt more comfortable with folks that spoke Spanish because I speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went out to different states, I would kind of link up with some of these Spanish speaking contractors and just say, hey, like what's happening?
Right.
Where are some deals at? How do you do work? Let's connect because if I have a house out here, I may need you to do some work. Because no, it's hard because the person who is out in a different state will know you're a Cali person or whatnot. You got money, and
Right.
they're gonna charge you more money.
I think that was a great point that you mentioned
Right,
about linking with contractors and um building your own community on your own. And
right,
like
right,
you said,
right.
it was important for
You
you to find Spanish speaking contractors as well, and just get
right,
the real deal, because you're right. People coming from California, we have this reputation of lots of money,
right,
wealthy,
right,
and that's a huge misconception, because that's only a small percentage of us
right,
have that
right,
lifestyle or that wealth.
right,
And
right.
so
You
go
you
ahead.
you you gotta go out there, right? Like if you have to think of this, okay, if you're gonna be investing outside of the state, I always say, okay, pick a state where you see yourself going to a lot, right? Let's say you visit family in Arizona
Hmm.
and you're there several times of the year. Well, that's probably the best state to go to because you're just going to be out there. You got to visit your properties. You got to talk to these people. There's new websites now that I'm seeing pop up where the website company will buy it for you and they'll oversee it. Okay, fine, right? I do my own management. I own about 45 homes with a partner. I self manage it. Here's the thing: is that if you don't take care of your house, if you don't put eyes on your house, your biggest investment, you're gonna lose it, right? The tenants are
Right.
gonna treat it like shit. The managers don't care, right? Like they're making their 10%.
Exactly.
And so you got to visit your property. Like it's these some of these websites say, "Oh, hands off, don't even worry about it. We'll give you a return." No,
No,
you gotta go and see these properties just to make sure that it's still
always.
standing. Exactly. No, that's one recommendation. You gotta go see it.
You have to be present, you
You
know,
gotta be present.
you have to be
Right.
present in all aspects. And, even going back to you working in lending in the beginning,
Mm.
obviously you're not a lender currently. I mean, I'm sure if you wanted to venture into that field, you could, but it's having those little, like those steps along the way that have helped you in this journey. And, I don't want to brush past the fact that you said 45 properties. Like, we need to celebrate that. Like, that's dope.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, that's
That's
gonna be for part two.
Oh, we'll definitely, yeah, there will definitely be multiple
That'll
parts.
be
And
part two.
Sergio will be back, you guys. And like I said, make sure you're following him on Instagram. He is very active there. And, if you want to
Oh
reach
yeah.
out to him, he's also on LinkedIn. So, but all that information will be in the description below. So, all right, investing, you've given so many important keys, and especially the one about coming from another state,
Oh yeah.
meeting with these contractors and getting charged double.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's a part of, the market research. And like you said, being in the trenches, meeting people, having these conversations, trying to seek the right answers. And, I was always told to not fall in love with the property before you have your money in order. Because people
Mm.
look on Zillow and, like you said, you started on Zillow, but that wasn't the end of the process. That was just the very beginning,
Oh yeah.
just to see, okay, well, I'm interested in this property, but now I have to go through all the next 100 steps to get to step one, like to
Right. Right.
the
Right. Right.
actual first step. And that's
Right.
just the reality of,
Right.
working in the business of real estate, whether you are, regardless of what side you are on. And
Right.
but yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people wanting to do the Burr movement, or just continuously buy and flip homes, is like, if you're over leveraging yourself, you're more likely to, I don't want to say fail, but because we need failure to learn, obviously, but
Right. You don't want to be one Burr investment away from losing everything.
precisely.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what could happen in an instance how we are right now,
Mm-hmm.
where now you don't have that appreciation that is what is the quintessential of birth, is
Yeah.
that you get that appreciation, you get in there, fix it. Now because of the economy, it's worth 100 grand more. Let me take it out. Let me get another one. You're not there right now. And so it's just you always just want to be mindful of not over leveraging yourself, even if you're a flipper. I mean, I know flippers right now that have inventory and they can't sell it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have flippers that are calling me and saying, hey, all I'm making is 30K on the deal. I'm happy with it. Do you got a client? I'm like, it's still too high, right? I mean,
Right.
so
Right.
you just
You just
you
have to
you just
prepare yourself for all
right, right,
all
right.
things, and there's going to be some things you didn't anticipate, but you just have to
Mhm.
be able to show up. Are you licensed in other states as well, or it's strictly just transactional?
Uh, no, I'm only licensed in California. Out of state, I hire a realtor.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Was there ever a point in your career where you wanted to give up, other than maybe
Yeah.
every day, like every day at 12 p.m.? But was there like a
Um,
real solid moment that you can recall, if you don't mind sharing, where you thought, maybe this isn't for me, I'm gonna go do something completely different. I'm gonna become a professional golfer, or like.
I mean, I'd say the first 3, 5 years was really tough.
Mm,
Real estate is always, they say that it's such a glamorous industry, and that you could make $1 million in your first year, or even 100 grand in your first year. The
right.
reality is that very, very little people do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's a struggle. Your first 3 or 5 years, right? You're eating top ramen. You're not going out. You're not doing
Right.
anything. All your weekends. And so for those striving young agents, you got to be ready for that, right? You got to have savings. And so I was like that in my first 3 and 5 years. I didn't know if I had chosen the right industry. Um, but it's the folks that I was working around, they said, hey, this is longevity. It's all
Yes.
about longevity. Like just keep at it, right? Just keep doing it, keep coming to meetings, keep being involved, keep talking with your employees. Go out there and look at homes, even though you have no clients or nobody's going to buy it. That just look at it, be involved in it, and hopefully it works out for you. But no, that I was like that in my first 3 or 5 years because it's hard. You don't have the confidence to sell a house,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes out in your language, and so buyers and sellers don't have any confidence in you.
Right.
And so it's a learning process. And what I think I saw a fact of just 80% of the new agents quit in the first 3 years. And so it's a numbers game.
That's real. That's real. Because you could close a couple good deals in a year, and that's, more power to you. But think about, you know, you get those two deals, you're not getting paid in between then. And
Oh yeah,
even
right,
after you get your check, you have to
right.
still consider it like for the future. Like, okay, how many months can I afford? How many months of bills can this pay? Can
Exactly.
do I have enough to add avocado to my ramen this month, or are we still going with the just the packet of
Exactly.
sauce? So there's a lot that goes into working in real estate, but let's kind of transition now into more like productivity and how you maintain your business in a sense, and then we'll wrap up this conversation. But thank you again for being a guest on here. I'm learning a lot. I've known you for almost 20 years now, and
Oh yeah.
and I'm still, this is a lot of new information for me and very insightful. So thank you so much. And
Mm.
um, but in terms of productivity, what's maybe a productivity hack for realtors, or a website, or a software, or a habit that has been beneficial in your career? um I would say in the last, let's go with the last 5 years, because in the last five
Oh.
years we've had, quote unquote, a regular market, and then
Mm-hmm.
in the last 3 years it's been
Mm-hmm.
new for all of us. For,
Mm-hmm.
it's been a
Mm-hmm.
very uncomfortable transition of
Mm-hmm.
sorts. So how have you,
Yep.
like, in terms of productivity and stabilizing and
Well, uh, one thing is, and this will happen going back to longevity. I'm on year 15. Actually, this year I'm celebrating my 15 years in the industry. Hooray.
congratulations.
Um, and so with longevity, now people know who I am, what I do. I have that track record. And so I would say a lot of my business is now referral based, right? Like where I just have random conversations with friends and hey, like let me introduce you to another friend and or oh hey, I'm ready to buy my rental property. And so that happens a lot. And so another thing that I do too is I still stick to guerrilla marketing, right? What is guerrilla marketing?
Yeah, if you don't mind just elaborating a little bit. I know what it is, but for the audience that may have never heard that term before, what
Um,
exactly is, and
sending mailers out there, right? Sending
Mhm.
postcards out there, sending handwritten letters out there to certain people. Just it's crazy because everybody's trying to pay $4,000 to Zillow for Zillow leads, when in fact the getting something in the mail with your name on it, you capture somebody's interest for 3 seconds, and then either they toss you or they
Yeah.
keep you, and then they call you a year later, which is crazy because I send out mailers and people call me years later and like, wow, you still have that. But guerrilla marketing, right? You're still sending out these postcards, even though people think it's ancient. Craigslist, even, right? Like doing these Craigslist ads. It's just you just never know. I mean, a lot of these are free, right? You're not paying Zillow $4,000. A lot of these are free or very low cost.
Hmm.
Send it out there and see what sticks. You just never know. But I have the record now
Right.
that I have all those sales under my belt. But for newer agents, just we're all throwing darts at a board to see what sticks. And
Yeah.
that's what you as a new agent got to do. You have to throw a dart at a board or whatever dart you think it is, shape, size, and just see what happens, right?
Right.
You just see what happens. You want to go to a flower mart and put your post or your business card on that board with thumbtack on it. Do it and just see what happens. You never know.
Yeah. You shouldn't be
Never
afraid
know.
to put
Yeah,
yourself out
yeah,
there. This is sales
yeah.
101,
Right.
marketing
And
101.
and here's the thing, right? Is that now we're starting to see an oversaturation of real estate videos. Like just there's
Hmm.
just so many now. like and if you're trying to do a real estate video now, well, I mean, wow, you're a fish in the pond. How many fish are in there?
Yeah.
I mean, what you gotta try something new. Go for the next trend, right? I mean, whatever it is. But um, I know you see this, the real estate videos. It's just getting out of hand now because they're so long now. It's like, you only have 3 seconds of my time.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I definitely see it. And again, I agree with that approach. I think you always have to continuously separate yourself from the market. If you're doing a trend, in my opinion, if you're hopping on a trend, in my opinion, it's too late.
Right,
Unless you are
right.
the one that has started that trend from the ground up.
Mhm.
If you're hopping on it, it's too late. You know,
Mhm.
like you said, it's oversaturated, it's been done. It doesn't mean it's it may not work, but if you're building your business or your foundation off of trends or what you think is cool for now or what you see other people doing, you really have to do your own research and put in the time, like you said, longevity, and work with people that not just have your back, but are willing to teach you and help you and answer questions. And that leads me into my next question is, in the beginning we were talking about the choices of how to pick an office and the support system and things like that. And I think one of the benefits of working at an office and associating yourself with a a brokerage that has a good reputation is the staff or is the admin and transaction
Mhm.
coordinators and people that can help facilitate this process along the way. Because real estate, aside from the sales part, aside from showing up or doing guerrilla marketing or traditional marketing, whatever the case may be, there are a lot of steps, but most importantly, there's a lot of paperwork. A
Oh,
lot of paperwork. And
oh,
as someone myself, as a transaction coordinator that works behind the scenes and is not front facing with people every day, but I am facing hundreds and thousands. I'm currently working with Sergio on a transaction with like thousands of
mm,
HOA documents.
oh, God.
And what is a benefit to using a transaction coordinator or hiring an assistant? Let's
Oh,
let's start with let's go with my favorite, the TC department. But how has that
well,
been beneficial to your career? Because I can't imagine any top producer or even a brand new, rookie agent having to sift through all this paperwork alone
I
and
mean,
still be successful. You know what I mean?
listen, listen. Yes, of course. I mean, listen, like, granted, I could probably do my own paperwork,
Of
but
course.
I would rather pay X to make sure that I have everything there, because you will, if you try and do it on your own, you will miss something. You will miss
Mhm.
something. And folks always say, "Wow, like, how come real estate always has so much paper? How come you don't move to a digital format or less documents?" Well, people will sue you. If you
Yep.
fuck up in California, you are dealing with millions of dollars in people's money, probably perhaps their most expensive investment ever. If you fuck up, you will get sued. And if your paperwork is not in order, you will lose. And when you lose a lot.
Yes.
So the benefits of having, it's interesting because this is how serious it is. I have to hire my transaction coordinator so that I make sure that all my paperwork is in order. By the way, you have to hire a licensed transaction coordinator to make sure that person is licensed, like Lilly. And so not only that, my office has their own legal transaction coordinator that overlooks Lily's work.
Yes. A
And
compliance department.
so, yes, the compliance department. So this just goes to show you how serious this paperwork is. Like, yes, you may have cheated your way through the real estate exam, and
Yeah.
you didn't read one chapter, and you got your exam. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, you better know what you're talking about when you're dealing with people's livelihoods or investments here, because if you fuck up, you will get sued. The next podcast, maybe we could talk about my mistakes, but it's happened to me, and so it's very important that you have that third party person overlooking and making sure, hey, let's just make sure that we didn't miss anything. Not
Right.
only that, just keeps accurate records because
Mm-hmm.
I believe the statute of limitations in California is 2 years. I can't recall.
3 years.
Um,
3 years.
3 years, 3 years, three
Yeah,
years.
it
Right.
used to
So
be it used to be 5. They decreased it to 3, I think back in 2016, 17.
I
Don't
think
quote me, but
so.
it's basically currently it's 3 years. Yeah, so every
Right. Right.
file, even after it's
Right.
closed, it's
Right.
still liable for lawsuit or anything. It's still considered an
Exactly.
open transaction for 3 years. So you're still
Right.
on edge for 3 years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, exactly. And I can remember me, Lily. I would email you. So I've done this several times where I email you and I say, "Hey, Lils, remember this file X B?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, that was a while ago." And what I say, pull out the file.
Pull it out. Yep.
Pull
Yep.
out the file. Give me what we
Give
have
me,
because
yep.
there might be some trouble brewing.
Exactly. And the trouble may not necessarily come from, something the realtor did or the TC or um it could be the smallest things that happened after close of escrow, but you need
Right.
that paper trail. And that goes down to not just the papers that come across your desk, like a transfer disclosure statement or a contract, but it's what happens within the emails too.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
the email correspondence, the text messages, all of that gets put into what we call correspondence, and that goes into the file. So there's a
Right.
log of everything. And, if you said,
Right.
yes, I will pay for the home warranty for 1 year, and then your client comes back and says, hey, I have an issue on day 366.
Right.
You're like, here's the text thread or the email thread, here's proof,
Right.
no, you can't sue me because I didn't agree
Oh
to,
yeah. Oh no.
and mhm,
And if you get sued, the attorneys will ask for the emails.
they will ask for the emails. I don't want to answer the question for you, but that is a part of that is a very important part of having a good TC, a licensed TC. And to add to
Right.
Sergio's point about being licensed, I also have insurance. I have
Ah.
errors and omissions insurance as well that I pay a good amount of money for annually. It's also a tax write-off. I'm not an accountant, but for those
Right.
intimidated by paying a lot of money to protect yourself, just know it's worth it. And
All right.
realtors have their, or they should have their own insurance as well in the event, God forbid anything were to happen on the legal side, but you have to be covered to protect yourself, your clients, and most importantly, your own livelihood.
Right.
So, yeah, so thank you for pointing that out. It's important. I think we all work together as a team, and that's the mindset you want to have when, you as a TC either picks the realtor you want to work with, and being on the same page and being in alignment and being responsible. Not even the responsibility doesn't stop at close of escrow. It's a
Right. Nope.
continuous effort, and management of
Exactly.
paperwork, and it's all learning. And
Right. Well, and luckily, the all the cases or files where I we may have gotten in trouble were always complete because Lily, I thank you for that. Our files were always complete, and it wasn't our negligence; it was somebody else's.
exactly. And that's, I'm glad you brought up the point that even the brokerage you are currently with has a compliance department. A lot of other brokerages I've worked with don't.
They
They
don't.
they rely on the TC to, or if someone uses a personal assistant or the realtor does it themselves, they're relying on them to have a complete file. But I feel like my best transactions are when I'm able to work with another uh company with a compliance department. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna wrap it up. I just realized the time. I love when the conversations flow, but we will definitely have
Oh, we need a part
part
two,
two,
three,
part
four.
three, four. You are definitely gonna see Sergio on here a
Oh
lot.
yeah.
I had fun with this conversation. So to wrap up this conversation, I do have two more questions, and
Mm.
then we'll tell people how to get in contact with you and all that good stuff. So I like asking my guests, what is one goal you don't mind sharing publicly today with our audience that you want to achieve in 2023?
Ah, okay. In 2023, I would like to be, and I know this probably goes against everything I just said on this thread, but less reliable on real estate sales income. Um, Meaning, real estate sales is just very hard. I'm now to the point where I have a lot of rental income coming in. And so I don't have to be out there pushing a lot, right? I let these rentals work for me, and that's what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I love it. And that's the evolution of this
Right,
path. If you choose to go down this path, what
right,
if you start out as a realtor and an investor, whatever it is, you have to have long-term plans. And
right,
it takes those short-term steps in order to achieve that. So thank you for sharing
right.
that. And then finally, you've already given so many keys, but I do have a final segment called The Keys, where basically I want my guests to share. It could be a quote, a song lyric, a book, or just any piece of advice for those out there wanting to start a career in real estate. What keys can you give them to just get going with as much confidence as possible?
A new agent, one piece of advice that I would give is you got to work every day.
Mm,
You got to go in there,
yeah.
work every day, um, do open houses. Just you got to just talk. I mean, even if the deal is 100K, and it pays you shit, it still gives you experience
Yes.
on the contract, and that's what you need right now. So no days off, right? And just do whatever work that somebody wants you to do. Kick your pride away. You got to learn, and this is the way to learn. This is the way I learned it. That's my advice.
That was perfect. That was a perfect way to end this amazing conversation. Like I said, Sergio will be back. So stay tuned. And if you have any questions you want me to ask him in future episodes, feel free to email them to me. But until then, how can people get a hold of you on social media,
uh
online?
yes.
Go ahead and share that with
Everything
my audience.
everything is on IG right now at the Real Tourist. You can see it. Lilly will have the information there at the Realtors. I have a LinkedIn, but I'm not really that active. All the activity right now is on the Realtorist. My lifestyle, also my work lifestyle, also my investment lifestyle. It's all there together. I'm not trying to hide anything. No separate accounts. What you see on there is who I am, and that's that.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Sergio. This has been a very fruitful conversation. I know it's going to inspire and motivate a lot of people. And you just gave us all the keys we needed, and I appreciate it. So until the next episode, everyone, that was a wrap with Sergio Giannoni. Definitely check him out on social media. And until then, your time is worth it. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Let's coordinate. This is another episode of Transaction Care. Talk soon.
Right on. Ciao.